Good evening, ham radio operators, and welcome to the Weekend Wind Down Net. Before we get going, is there any emergency or priority traffic at this frequency? Alright, well, this is Ernesto, KI5PZN, that's Kilo India 5, Papa Zulu November.
And this is Mireya, KI5SYX, and we'll be your net controllers for this evening.
If you're using the University Link repeater system, make sure your tone is set to 97.4. This net is also linked to the Oak Hill Amateur Radio Club repeater system. If you're listening through the Oak Hill Amateur Radio Club repeater system and you wish to participate, be sure your tone is set to 114.8. If you are outside of Austin, we would love to hear from you too. The way to get in is via Echolink by connecting to KA5D, KA5D-R, and N5OAK-R. You can also reach us via Allstar by connecting to node 51444.
The Weekend Wind Down Net is a RAC2net. We get together on Sunday nights to talk about the weekend. It's likely that most of us look forward to the 2 days out of the week when we can actually spend time doing things we like, relaxing or spending time with others. Did you work on a project, barbecue, watch a movie, or were you stuck catching up on chores? Ham-related and not, tell us, was your weekend a blast or a bust? Please note that this is a directed net, so please refer all calls to net control. We're using the University Link repeater system and the Oak Hill Amateur Radio Club repeater system. Big thanks to Kyle, KA5D, and the Oak Hill Amateur Radio Club and N5OAK for letting us use their system for this net. To learn more about the University Link repeater system, please visit K5D.com. If you would like more information about the Oak Hill Amateur Radio Club, including how to become a member and how to join the club's Discord server, go to N5OAK.org. Let's start the Weekend Wind Down Net with a segment we like to call Discord Dish, where we serve up our favorite Discord posts from the Oak Hill Amateur Radio Club Discord server.
All right. Well, I'm going to start this one with a post. This was for a couple of weeks ago. Because by the way, was not here last week. Took the Sunday off last week, so we have a couple of weeks here without discussing. But this first post was on the Homebrew channel on Discord, and it was posted by Rusty, OVZ5BBS, and this is a post on how to build a Fox, a hidden transmitter for under $15. Really interesting. If you are into that, that's on the Homebrew channel. There was a lot of activity this weekend on the Fox Hunt channel. Rusty, OVZ5BBS, had the N5OAK Fox out there this weekend. I'm not sure if the Fox is still going on, but I was out of town. But I know that there's a couple of people who found it because I saw the posted on Discord, but not sure if, like I said, if the Fox is still going on. But again, it usually happens almost every week where we have Fox on hidden transmitter if you're new to ham radio. So keep an eye on that. It's a lot of fun. That's on the Fox Hunt channel. That was this weekend activity on that channel. On the CW Operation channel, Bill F5SMO posted a blog, really nice. I like that one. 6 things I learned after becoming a CW operator and activator. If you are into CW, that's really nice. It's a short article, and it's very, very cool. That was posted by Bill F5SMO on the CW channel. on the propagation channel, there's always things happening. I saw a post by Steve KI5UKF. He was talking to Canada on 10 meters, so 10 meters coming back up. Keep an eye on the band as well. You know how fun that band is when it wakes up. So that's on the propagation channel, by the way. And those were all the posts that I grabbed from the last few days. Obviously, I've been doing all kinds of stuff, but it's a good thing to have. If you don't have the Discord app or you don't have access, go to n5oak.org and scroll down and join the Discord. It's free to join the club, and it's also free to join Discord. It's a great place to go. If you're in Newham, you can go to Discord and you can ask questions. There's a bunch of people out there, over 500 users we have. People with a lot of experience. So, again, if you're in Newham, that's a great place to go and get your questions answered. Again, it's free to join. All you have to do is go to n5oak.org, scroll down, and join the fun. It's also a good way to stay in touch and up to date with what's going on in the ham community in this area. So, again, n5oak.org is the place to go to check that out. All right, well, you are listening to the Weekend Wind Down Net, hosted by Ernesto, KI5PZN.
And this is Mireya, KI5SYX. You can hear the Weekend Wind Down Net every Sunday at 7:30 via the University Link repeater system and the Oak Hill Amateur Radio Club repeater system.
So, Mireya, this net is called the Weekend Wind Down for a reason. How was your weekend?
Hey, Ernesto. Well, this weekend was okay. I'd say this weekend was between a mini blast and a bust. I don't know. We went up to Fort Worth and spent time with my dad, which was fun. Took Dad to a steakhouse, which is one of his favorite things to do. But driving those 3 hours to Fort Worth and back in, I'd say 30 hours is not often very fun, especially if you have to do it all the time. So I'd say it was okay. I actually want to highlight the previous weekend, the one that you didn't host the Weekend Wind Down Net because we were on the coast. That was something that was most enjoyable and definitely a blast. The cool thing about Texas is that it has a lot of variety in ecosystems, sites, things to do, and all within driving distance. So last weekend, instead of going 3 hours north, we went 3 hours south. And we traveled on roads that we had never traveled before. So we got to see a lot of small town Texas. We saw Gonzales, we saw Edna. One of the highlights of our trip was driving near the power plant in South Texas. So it's very close to Bay City. They have a dedicated pond or a lake that's the emergency water for the nuclear reactions that are going on the site. We can't get very close, but we're driving over and we see these two huge dome-shaped buildings at a distance, and we're thinking, what the heck is that? No idea that they were here. We go online, and sure enough, it's a power plant. It's been around since the 80s. Very reminiscent of the, Simpsons power plant experience where it's powering all the small towns in South Texas. And actually, I think it powers a good chunk of Houston. It was cool to drive by. Very retro looking. The buildings are gray-toned, this concrete color. It seems like you're traveling back in time, driving near them. We're learning a little bit about the nuclear reactors there. Was cool while we're driving to our final destination, Mata Gorda. on the coast of Texas. We needed a little bit of a break, so we went down there. We'd never been. It was on our list of things to do for Texas, and if it's on your list, we totally recommend it. Here's the thing. You go down to Matagorda, and there's nothing to do, but that is the beauty. We rented an Airbnb. We were walking distance to the beach. We went to the beach every day. Ernesto fished a bunch. And I relaxed a bunch. And because we were there from Sunday to Thursday, guess what? The whole beach was for us. The dunes were beautiful, gorgeous sights to be seen. Not a lot of touristic things. Maybe it was because we were there on the weekend, but even in the town on the week, even in the town, there's not much to do. Maybe there's one bar you can go to, and a dollar store, which is where Ernesto got our goodies for the week. So if you want to relax, and you're not into talking to people and socializing and going to the bar and going to the clubs, Matagorda ended up being a fabulous, relaxing getaway for Ernesto and me this past weekend. They say that there's a lot of bugs in Matagorda. Well, let me tell you. Yes, there are bugs. There is a beautiful, gorgeous swamps out there. Those, there are wetlands. You can see, as far as your eye can see, beautiful water, gorgeous grasses, cranes flying everywhere, beautiful animals, just peaceful. And so maybe, there are little bugs because of just the natural environment around there. That's nature. But take your spray. We weren't affected at all, hardly. I mean, a few little bites here and there, but totally worth it. If you haven't been to Matagorda in South Texas, you got to go. So, Ernesto, I know I cheated a little bit. I talked about the previous weekend, not this weekend, but I just wanted to tell people about beautiful Texas. Go and explore small town Texas on your way to Matagorda, just like we did last weekend. So, Ernesto, that was what I want to share. So what about you? What was your weekend like?
KFI-PZN, continuing with the Weekend Wind Down Net. Well, Mireya, I'll say, you just described my previous weekend, so that saves me a little bit of time here. But yeah, that was awesome. Really cool place if you want to go. Just, it was next to where the Colorado River meets the ocean. So that's why the fishing was so good over there. So that's something to keep in mind. And then this weekend, Saturday, we started with the ham breakfast on Waterloo Ice House on 8600 Burnett Road. We do that every Saturday, and we get there like around 8 a.m., and we spend a couple of hours hanging out there with the guys. That was a lot of fun. If you haven't done it, you should check it out. And then after that, we headed to Fort Worth, like Mireya was saying, went to Fort Worth. Actually, I went to the Miracle League game with Enrique. He does a little baseball game. And after that, we headed up to Fort Worth, hung out there for a day and a tad. And now I am running this awesome net. But I'm curious, I wonder how everybody else's weekend went. Let's call for check-ins. But before we do that, let me do a quick ID. This is the Weekend Wind Down Net, hosted by Ernesto, KI5PZN.
And this is Mireya, KI5SYX. And Weekend Wind Down Net is here every Sunday, 7:30, via the University Link and Okel Amateur Radio Club repeater systems.
All right, well, any licensed operator is welcome to check in. All you got to do is call net control with your call sign and name, and I am listening, y'all.
This is Whiskey Zulu 5 Bravo Bravo Sierra. Oh!
This is November 5 Lima X-Ray.
This is
Tango Victor Alpha.
All right, we've got Rusty, Sky, and David. Anybody else would like to check in, please call 9 Control with your name and call sign.
This is Whiskey 5 Kilo Yankee Uniform.
This is Kilo Fox 5 Delta Papa X-Ray.
All right. Got got David, Ka, and Chris there. That's why I mentioned David earlier. Well, David, you guys two times mentioned here. All right, well, let's go and check with Mr. Rusty, El Senor Rusty, WZ5 BBS. What's going on, man? How is the weekend and live treating you, my friend?
Howdy, man. Good to hear me, Maria, on the net. How new and surprising is that? I hope she remembers her call sign. It was great, man. I had a fun weekend. We had F1 was in Japan, and got to watch all that. Put a Fox out, and I think it was kind of sneaky. We only had two people. Sky was one of them, so I'd be interested to hear how Sky thought the Fox hunt went. But when I put it out, I kind of drove around it and thought maybe it was going to be a little hard. But, you know, they can't all be super easy. So we'll see how it works. I might get his help to figure out if we got some RF leakage in this thing or if it's doing what it's supposed to. But, man, all in all, had a great weekend. Looks like we got some rain coming. So, yeah, big surprise. I took down the HF antenna because it said hail and strong winds. So if I do this, nothing. And, yeah, man, just hanging out and playing on the wind down net and seeing what's going on.
Well, very cool, man. Yeah, well, that's another reason why we need to get you either an end-fed antenna or a dipole. You don't have to worry about those type of things. But, yeah, no, I saw that there's like big storm coming in. I got a text from Jeff, M5MNW, so I think if it gets really bad, they're not going to be doing the swap net tonight. They're probably going to do the Skywarn net, but we'll see how that goes. Very cool, man. With the F1, do you get the guys over to watch the F1? Back to you.
Nope. We took the weekend off of that. It was just myself and another friend hanging out on the sofa. But no, usually Sky and, well, I guess usually the last two races, Sky and Doug have come over, and it's been fun. I guess you came over on the first one as well, you and Enrique. So, yeah, no, we might have to do that. I think we only have like 3 or 4 more races. So probably have to get at least 1 or 2 more in before the end of the season.
Well, cool, man. Yeah, I went to the first one with Enrique. That was interesting. We had Doug there giving me an explanation on how the sport works. I have no idea what I was watching, but it was really nice because once you get the ins, then it makes sense and it becomes fun for sure. So what's the Fox, man? I didn't get a lot of communication with you over the weekend. So how many people so far send you an email, or did you retrieve the log back to you?
Yeah, no, the Fox was over at 6. I went and picked it up. I had 2 people that went looking and didn't find it. So we had 4 people that I know of. Maybe there was a Paul out there. I don't know if Paul went to find it or not, but Sky and John, KE5RS, found it. So it was findable, but you had to look real hard. So I don't know if it's the output. I changed the antenna. I have an extra 2-meter antenna that was bigger than the little stubby thing that it came with. So I thought maybe that would help, and I think it did help it out a little bit. But I don't know. We'll have to figure this one out.
Well, cool, man. I know. I talked to Paul, and I think he might have gone today if he was going to go fox hunting. Because I think he was busy on Saturday, but he was going to. That was in his plans. So I'm curious. I don't know if you're going to share the location or not and if it's okay if you're going to reuse it on Discord. But I was expecting some sort of shenanigans coming from you. Back to you.
Yeah, since two people found it, I'm going to keep it to myself, just because it was a fun hiding spot. I did kind of think a sky, so this is kind of my version of a sky hunt. It was down a path and around a corner and in a hole and around another corner, but it was close enough that you could hear it from other places. So it was, it was interesting. It was definitely not your normal hunt. I was kind of being a butthole, but I was trying to be at least a helpful butthole in making the fox hunt work. But I don't know. I guess we'll see in the comments on the Fox Hunt channel whether or not that was true or not.
Hey Rusty, thanks for checking in tonight, and I was glad to, I don't know if this is going to ruin your location, but I was glad to learn that you selected a north location for the foxes. I think north doesn't get a lot of love with the fox hiding places. I know central does and south does a lot, because I know that the participants that are actually doing the work and hiding are in that location. But you're the northern guy. I'm glad that you're doing a little bit of north, just like Paul did last weekend. So that's really good. And yes, okay, hide it so that we can look for it in the future. And one last question on the F1. I know that you're a big fan. Have you been to any of the F1 races here in Austin? Because that track by the airport was a huge deal when they installed it a few years ago. And I know it's a popular venue for a lot of concerts and things like this, but the original reason was for the F1. Have you been out there, and what's your experience been like?
So I've been an F1 fan for about, I don't know, maybe 5 or 6 years, so it's relatively new. I certainly, Doug is like the encyclopedia on F1, so any questions, I can always, defer to Doug, because heaven forbid you actually read something. So I have never been out there for an F1 race. I've been out there for other things. I had a buddy that used to be the director of IT out there, so I've got to go and play around out there, but I've never actually been there for an F1 race. So maybe, I don't think we're going to go this year because it's coming up. It's so damn expensive, and I don't know that sitting out there in one place would really excite me. Plus, I really don't know what all's going on, so I kind of need the bobbleheads chatting me up, telling me what's happening and what's going on. So I think I would prefer to watch it at the house, but then again, I've never been to one live, so we'll see. As far as the fox hunts, it's kind of interesting that you said that, because I was thinking about that earlier when I went to go pick the fox up, and I was like, we do need to start doing some up here. My territory has always been kind of like the 360, out in the trees area, and we've kind of, been there and done that all out there. So yes, I've been thinking about migrating, and I found some other fun spots. So we'll start having some more north fox hunts as well, because we have a couple more people here up north that have just joined us for fox hunts, so maybe it'll keep them entertained. But yeah, we got Skies, got the south, Ernesto's got central and east. I've got kind of the north end over, kind of maybe the west, northwest, and then Paul's got, Williamson County. So we'll see. But yeah, now that we've got the Club Fox, I'm gonna put this thing out and make people suffer and try to find it out of nothing.
Totally agree. That's a great plan, and I like the way that you split the region out by all the dudes that are the fox hunters and placers in Austin. That is probably a good thing to do, so everyone shares the load a little bit. And on F1, yeah, totally hear you. I've heard that people have fun when they're there because they make a party out of it. So if you have people going out there with you, it turns into something fun. So maybe that's in our future. I would be interested in going to the track, but maybe if it was something more interesting. Ernesto suggested a retro race, maybe cars like the one that I own, a 1977. VW bug race, something cool like that. I think that if they invested so much money on that track, maybe making cool races like that would be something that people would do more, not only the hardcore fans. Thanks for checking in tonight, Rusty, and we'll talk to you soon.
Absolutely. It would be fun, maybe get an RV and go stay. I think if I ever did go out there and do something like an F1 race, I would want to stay all weekend because it's such a zoo getting out there and back and all the other shenanigans that goes on. So I'd want to stay there. So, maybe we'll talk about it for next year, and we will. We'll just have a little party at the racetrack and, see what kind of trouble we can get into.
Telling me that we should definitely take her do like some sort of event over there where everybody brings a really old car like hers, and then the camera guy can just run next to the car as well. Because those cars are so slow. But anyway, it's been silly here. Well, Rusty, do you have anything else for the net before we move on, my friend?
Dude, I bet the camera guys would really like that, because when you get to see the camera guys in action during the F1, it looks like they're going to throw their back out every time the car comes by, because they're just zipping left to right. But no, man, that's it. Thanks for running the net. Glad y'all got home safe, and y'all chat with other more important people. I'm going to bow out and listen. WZ5BBS, back to net control.
Good talking to you. Appreciate you always checking into the net. If you are wondering what Rusty is going to be listening to, this is the Weekend Wind Down Net, hosted by Ernesto, KI5PZN.
And Mireya's here tonight, KI5SYX. You can hear the Weekend Wind Down Net every Sunday, 7:30, and you can hear it via the University Link or the Oak Hill Amateur Radio Club repeater systems.
All right, we just talked to Rusty, those at 5BBS, and now we're going to go and check with our friend Sky. N5LX. Sky, what's going on, man? How is the weekend treating you?
This is N5LX. Hey, Ernesto, and hi, Mireya. It's good to hear you back on. And also, glad you had a good time in Matagorda. It sounds like the mosquito bites were worth it. But I'm kind of wondering what Rusty did to be able to sing that high note when he first came on. That was interesting. But F1, I would recommend, it's like I'm an old guy with an opinion. I would recommend attending like just one F1 race in person, just so that you can kind of get the feel of what it's like being there. You can feel the vibration and the sounds of the engine and just that whole experience. And that would be, just that one experience would be enough. And then I kind of agree, it's like you can see a lot more and get a better sense of everything that's going on by watching it on TV. But it would be fun to go just once. And the other thing is, I think the south side of the track, if you're capable, if you just kind of walk along there to like visit a few of the different corners, you can, I think, get a better sense of what's going on. I'm going to reset. Anyway, that's cool. The fox hunt was great. I appreciate Rusty hosting that one. I didn't get the signal until I was really close on my whip antenna, my mobile antenna. So I can kind of understand why maybe it was a little bit hard for others. And there's been a number of hunts where I had the same issue, but this time I kind of learned a while back that if you stop once in a while and do like a sweep with your Yagi, just kind of walk around, get out of the car and walk around and sweep with your Yagi, even if you're not getting anything on the mobile antenna, sometimes you'll pick it up, and that's kind of what saved me. I mean, that's why I found it. There's something weird about the performance of that thing. Maybe the antenna pattern is goofy, because it did seem like the polarization was not what I was expecting. But anyway, I still enjoyed it. I was going to do some hiking around there, but I kind of cut it short due to the heat. I'm going to reset again. Anyway, I appreciate that. It was a fun hunt. Then I went and got some awesome tacos at Chapala Taqueria. Today I watched MotoGP motorcycle races and enjoyed that. And then I got my HF amplifier, the Ameritron, back from warranty repairs, and it worked yesterday, but then when I fired it up this morning, it had an intermittent problem again, so the saga continues. I'm going to fiddle around with it and see if I can figure out what's wrong, because I don't think it makes sense to send it back. I already waited like 5 months. Anyway, that's kind of pretty much all that's going on. I'm hoping that that we get some rain tonight. And thanks again for hosting the net, and hi to everybody out there. This is N5LX.
Well, very cool, Sky. Yeah, on that high note, on Rusty, yeah, man, I guess you didn't know, he's a very famous opera singer. That's how I got that recording. No, it's funny how that he likes it, and it's kind of hilarious. But very cool, man. Yeah, I'm with you on the F1 as well. I wouldn't mind going once. Seeing, videos of people in those races, and you see like there's so much wind after those car passes. It could be kind of cool to see that, but I think it will be just fine with just going once and just to check it from the list and have that. And I think I heard you saying Taqueria Chapala, and if I'm correct, I haven't been there in a while, but they're really good. I think they're the guys who come to your table and they ask you how hot you want your salsa, and they make it there in front of you. It's I think that's the one. At least there's one Casa Chapala on Burnett Road. It's on the northeast corner of Burnett Road and 183. So maybe it's the same people, but very cool. And I have a comment on the amplifier. It sounds like pretty sucky that you send that stuff out there to get fixed and it comes back and it's still all wonky. I would probably check with Jeff N5MNW, the guy that runs you saw him on Saturday at breakfast. He might be able to point you into the right direction or help you troubleshoot it as well, because that guy, he knows ham radio from A to Z, in and out. But that's if you need his email, let me know and I can put you in contact with him. Over to you.
Yeah, thanks, Ernesto. Yeah, go ahead and send me that email address. That'd be great. Yeah, it's a little frustrating, but not so much. I mean, I've had all kinds of things going on in the last couple of years, so it doesn't really faze me all that much. But it is kind of weird, I mean, I was on the forum for a while, and people have had those things for decades and just really love them to death. And in fact, I got a lot of criticism, from people telling me I just didn't know how to tune it and stuff like that. So I kind of gave up on the forum. But yeah, if you could send me that email address, that'd be cool. I'll get it working eventually. It's just another opportunity to learn something new, I think. This is N5LX.
I know, man, and people are always going to have an opinion. It's like anything else, and in any other hobby or field, people are always going to have their opinions. I'm sure you can figure it out because you've worked in radios for a long time, and you know those things as well. But I think, since Jeff has been working on ham radios since, probably the 70s, he should be able to at least probably just, give you a good pointer there so you don't have to spend a lot of time troubleshooting. So hopefully that will work out. Did you have a hard time finding the Rusty's Fox? I know you said that you heard it when you were really close, but was it overall how would you consider it a difficult one or kind of okay, normal? Back to you.
Yeah, that's a good question. I kind of got lucky, the way we all do sometimes. I don't think I would have found it in as short a time as I did if I hadn't been getting out of the car and kind of sweeping with the Yagi. That's how I got the first signal long before I heard it on the mobile antenna. In fact, I didn't hear it on the mobile antenna until I was maybe a quarter of a mile away. So, and it also, it seemed like the pattern was kind of strange. It's like I was picking it up in one direction. I won't say which. I don't know if somebody's still out there looking for it. But I was picking it up like really far away in one direction, and I could hardly pick it up at all. You know, I had to get like really close to pick it up from the opposite end. So I don't know, there was something weird going on there. But it was challenging, and I enjoyed it. Hopefully it wasn't too frustrating for the other folk. But I don't know, I kind of like it when things, you know, when people change things up and it's not what you expect.
Yeah, no, definitely it keeps it interesting. I wonder, because I didn't get a chance to go fox hunting this weekend, but as I was running one of the errands, I heard the fox, and I heard it, you know, pretty clear. That's the way it goes. I'm sure if I would have been looking for the fox, I probably would have driven 3 hours without hearing the fox, but that's how it goes, man. I was just driving, you know, completely random and heard the fox, but I didn't have the time this weekend to go and play. Well, I'm glad you did, and I'm looking forward, hopefully, you know, within the next couple of weeks to go out there and do both, host one and also go out fox hunting as well. Well, very cool, Sky. Do you have anything else for the net before we move on?
No, thanks, Ernesto. And I'm just going to listen to the rest of the net, but thanks, and hello to Mireya again. It was good. It's good to hear you back on. This is N5LX. Back to you.
Hey, Sky, thanks so much for always checking in to the Weekend Wind Down Net. Even though I don't participate every time, I do hear it, and I know that you are an active participant, and we always thank you for your time. What I did want to mention is something that you touched on life and being able to weather things that are difficult. And that's something that I've noticed about this ham radio stuff. There are a lot of challenges and frustrations that come with it, even though most people are doing it for fun, but there are a lot of things that go wrong, or your radios don't work, or you have to work on an antenna and tune it and fine-tune things and go over things a million times. Ask for advice, go to your community, etc. It seems like it's a challenge often, but it's something that people do for fun, but it's also a chore of making yourself stronger. And it seems like your life has been about that. All life is challenging, I guess, but this hobby also does a little bit of it too, and it seems like you have the right attitude that we can all learn from. You said something like, you know, I just go with it, and I don't remember what you said, but it really it made me think about, hey, you know, things are not all that important, and we can always get through to everything. So thanks for your participation tonight, Sky, and look forward to hearing from you and seeing you soon. Bye-bye.
Yes, guys, always a pleasure talking to you, my friend, and hopefully we will be talking soon for sure. All right, well, let's see. Let's do a little idea here. You are listening to the Weekend Wind Down Net, hosted by Ernesto, KI5PZN.
And this is Mireya, KI5SYX, Sunday night, 7:30, Weekend Wind Down Net, University and OKL repeater systems.
I like your summary of the ID, Mireya. All right, well, that was Sky, N5LX, and now we're going to go and check with Mr. David, K7TVA. David, what's going on, man? How is the weekend treating you?
Hi, Ernesto. Hi, Mireya. Thanks to both of you for co-hosting the net tonight. Nice to hear your voices. Mireya, your comments about perseverance are ringing true for me this weekend, because I had a very strenuous week at work last week and threw my back out, and just getting through the rest of the week and the weekend and all the things I have to do has been pretty tough. So let's reset. David, K7TVA, by the way, right? And Friday afternoon, I decided I wasn't going to be moving around very much this weekend anyway, so I went and I donated blood, and then Saturday discovered that Natalia had scheduled both of us for flu shots, so I got my flu shot Saturday. So I've been resting and recovering this weekend from all of those things. Wanting to get a lot of stuff done, even though I wasn't really feeling up to it. So I've been trying to dig deep for that perseverance. So I did, radio-wise, I tried to get into the RIDI contest that was going on a little bit yesterday, and I wasn't able to, like, make it work properly. I was occasionally, like, getting some intelligible half of it, like seeing other people's QSOs, and then it would just, like, switch back to total garbled nonsense. So I really don't know how to use FLDigi. It's a pretty complicated piece of software as far as I'm concerned. So I need to spend a little more time on that before I can make it work. And today I worked on and finished an end-fed half-wave antenna. It's pretty simple. I had all the parts, so just needed a connector and a toroid and some wire and wound it up. And then I actually went and walked down to the park at the end of my street and put it up and was able to hear some contacts going on. Didn't make any QSOs. Trying to get through like POTA pileups with just 10 watts. And I didn't want to spend a whole lot of time there. But I got something done. Feel good about that. So at least I'm ending the weekend on a high note. Back to you.
Well, David, sorry to hear that you got issues there with your back, but I think last time I saw you, I asked you to slow down on that skateboard half-pipe shenanigans, because, you know, we get up there in age and you can't be doing those aerials 360 stuff up there, so just slow down on the skateboarding, my friend. I know you're hardcore, but that will definitely help you. BTG, I haven't ventured in that direction either. I haven't touched digital yet. On the NFET, curious, what bands does your antenna cover? Back to you, David.
I cut it for 40 meters, so it's 60-something feet of wire, and I just trimmed it down until it was until it kind of balanced performance between 40 meters and 20 meters, because those are the two bands I anticipate using it on the most for parks on the air. It might also work on 10, but I didn't check, because that's another like multiple of maybe 15 or 17, whatever the like 40 meters divided by 3 kind of wavelength is, might also work. But I didn't test it, only on 40 and 20, K7TVA.
Well, very cool, man. Yeah, I have a couple of projects with antennas, and keep saying when the weather, finally cools down, I'll get up there and wrap them up. But it seems like every weekend there's an excuse for the weather to get rude again with us. So I haven't been postponing that. I have the 6-meter one's got one of the arms down, and I have another one that I want to put up there. But glad to hear that you got that one going on. And on the RIDI, I guess you're gonna have to talk to the guy. Obviously, Discord or at breakfast, if you ever want to go over there. I know that some of the guys are are expert on RIDI. Some of the guys that go to breakfast, so that's another avenue there for you. Well, very cool, man. Was going to ask you. I lost track of what I was going to. Oh, fox hunting. Did you get to do any fox hunting this weekend? Back to you.
No, didn't quite have the energy. I would have liked to go out and hunt those foxes. It sounds like they were interesting, both Rusty's and the Leander fox up by that lake. I forget the name of. Because that's 2 north foxes, so it could have been a 2-for-1 trip, but didn't find the time for it and the energy. And on the topic of RIDI and getting some help, when I realized I was having some, I was like, it was not working. I said, okay, well, I guess I got to learn how to use FLDigi here. So I quickly searched, intro guide to FLDigi, and the YouTube video that came up was 3.5 hours long. So I said, I definitely don't have the energy for this. I'm going to go lie down. K7TVA.
Yeah, man, how rude, 3 hours to explain that to you. It's like, man, might as well just go back to college to get to get a degree on that. Well, cool, man. I mean, I'm sorry to hear, like I said, that your back is not doing, all right, but you're a young and vigorous person, so I'm sure you will recover quickly. And that's what we are hoping here, to see you doing cartwheels by next weekend, man. Do you have anything else for the net, David, before we move on, my friend?
No, sir. Thanks for that. I realize I've broken the cardinal rule and talked about health issues on ham radio, so I apologize deeply from the bottom of my broken back. K7 TVA.
David, that is the preparation for you to go to 80 meters and sit down over there and rack you for 3 hours of talking about all your medications and ointments. And that's usually what happens out there. You're too young for that, but it's just, it gives you it gives you a preview of what 80 meters could be. It's awesome. David, do you have anything else before we move on?
That's all I got. Thank you, Ernesto.
You made us laugh. All right, man. Well, thank you again for checking in. It's always a pleasure talking to you, and hope you have a good week and a good and quick recovery. All right, that was K7 TVA, Mr. David. Now we're going to go and check with W5KYU Kyle. Kyle, what's going on, man? How is the weekend treating you?
Hey, Ernesto. Glad to hear that you had some fun last week. Myself, I participated in that Aries exercise, and I was very disappointed in myself. I couldn't hear anybody.
Well, you guys doing radio on HF or 2 meter? What band were you guys transmitting on? Back to you.
I think they were controlling some VHF simplex, and I think it's nice having the Oak, that repeater, or even the Aries net. They're on a repeater, but when we're just doing simplex and the site is a little further away, it's challenging, and I think that's what I have a problem with, is knowing how far I can transmit.
Oh, I see, Kyle, what you're saying. Well, that can always be changed. Thank goodness with VHF and 2 meters, and I'm sure there were probably 2 meters and 7 meters. Height is what gets you out there. So if you have a chance to put an outdoor antenna and you have the opportunity to put it as high as you can, that will definitely improve your chances to get into that simplex. I mean, again, if they're too far, then you won't be able to make it, but that would help you also if you have if the antenna, if you're far away from where they are talking, and you have the opportunity at some point to get a Yagi antenna, that could definitely help you as well, because that acts more like it's a directional antenna, so it's basically concentrating all that RF into one direction. So it definitely makes a huge difference. Things to to think about. Altitude, for sure. You want to make sure that you have an outdoor antenna. You want to have it as high as possible. And if you're far away and you have the opportunity, like I said, to have a Yagi antenna, that could make a difference in your transmission, man. So that's don't lose your hopes. I've been on ham radio for a couple of years, and I started with the HT like everybody else. Kept on learning from the other guys, and got louder and louder on the air, and now have an okay radio here that people can hear. But it takes a little bit of practice and trying. But I would say that, man, antenna in that case, height and antenna is what is going to make your life easier. Over to you, Kyle.
Thanks for that advice. I should definitely head for the hills next time, and pack everything up. One of my goals is to have all my equipment ready to go, and with on battery, and these Go boxes that I'm trying to put together. Like I have a HF, like doing one of those man packs, and just put them in a tactical backpack, and I have a couple of ammo cans for Go boxes. Still trying to work on how to do my mobile radio, because I can't operate out of the box because of the fan. So I try to figure out how to open the box and pop it up.
Oh, as the guy on Discord, and I know Rusty's always had 5 BBS, the president of the Oak. He's got a Go box where he has a Yaesu FTM 300. I'm not sure. I know he takes it with him to truck whenever he doesn't have the radio installed on his truck. It's always on that box. Only the antenna is installed, so he gets in and plugs in the antenna and gets on talking. But I'm not sure if he's got a fan in that box or if he pulls the radio out. I have no idea. But I would definitely check on the Discord channel for Go Box, and guys will be more than happy to give you directions on that. It's on my list of things to do, but it's only been 2 years, and I've been distracted with all kinds of ham stuff. So I haven't gotten there yet, but I'm really happy to hear that you are putting that together. Do you have an HF radio already? Back to you, Kyle.
I have one. I think I bought it the same week I got my license back in July, and I haven't made a contact on it yet. Still kind of working through antenna issues. You need to figure out a good antenna for HF. I think it's definitely more complicated than the VHF antennas. And I'm looking forward to next month because I guess there's the quarterly meeting, and then Hamfest in Belton. I think that's last year was the first time that I got exposed to ham radio. So I'm excited to go back there and see, make more contacts with different hams.
The Hamfest is great. It's a great experience. First time I went, I did it. I had more fun after the second time because I knew a little bit more about radio. Plus, I knew more people. But I would say on your comment regarding the HF antenna, you'll be surprised because for VHF, UHF, you need to have an antenna way up high there, and need to get some high, I guess. But with HF, I have an MFET antenna, which is just a piece of wire going through the trees on the near the fence, and maybe 10 or 15 feet in the air. It's not that fancy or anything. And I've talked to the world, so you'd be surprised. It might be a little bit easier to get the HF set up than the VHF, UHF, man. Believe it or not, back to you.
Yeah, I feel like the HF, it's more finesse. You need to kind of know what you're doing there with those wire antennas too. So, okay, yeah, that's part of the process. I think I heard you guys talk about challenges, and definitely, when something doesn't work, a good ham would just keep at it, right, and tackle those questions and learn and improve. So I like that about ham radio. Thank you.
No, man, definitely. This is a hobby/service where it's really hard to get bored with because when you master something, there's a gazillion other things that you can get into. And sometimes we do one thing for a while and then move on and do other things and then come back to the things that we were doing at first. Yeah, definitely. This is not the type of hobby that you get bored with. Like I said, there's just so many aspects of ham radio, including having breakfast with the guys. Even the social part of it. It's a great hobby for sure. In 2 years, I've met so many nice people. I mean, I feel bad for them because they met me, but I met a bunch of cool people. So it's always a fun thing to do, and I'm really happy about the hobby. Let me pass the mic here to Mireya real quick.
Hey, Todd, thanks for checking in tonight. And, just really, really quick, you mentioned Belton. Belton was one of my first contacts with ham radio. And 2 months later, I was licensed ham. I think that knowing or getting to know some of the hams right off the bat in a convention like that really helps see how welcoming everyone is and friendly. Everyone is pretty much there to help each other out. There's no money being exchanged. Obviously, it's everyone's time and fun and interest in radio. So you are in the right place if you are looking to learn a lot and connect with people. And if you're going to Belton, I think you're going to get a little bit of taste of what I got right off the bat, and inspired me to keep going. Ernesto's trying to get me to get my general. I don't know if that's going to happen, but just as a technician, I've had a lot of fun in a year and a half of being a licensed ham. So welcome, and hopefully you keep growing as a ham operator. Thanks for checking in tonight.
Thank you. Actually, I might have stomped on top of some of that and missed it. So that's all I have today. Back to you. Back to the net.
All right, guys. Always a pleasure talking to you, man. Thanks for checking in. Hopefully you have an awesome week, and we'll be talking to you soon. All right. Well, you are listening to the Weekend Wind Down Net, hosted by Ernesto, KI5PZN.
And Mireya, KI5XYX. The Weekend Wind Down Net is on every Sunday night at 7:30 via the University Link repeater system and the OKL Amateur Radio Club repeater system.
Funny, you didn't do a summary one this time around. All right, well, we're talking to Khan, W5KYU, and now we're going to go and check with Chris, KF5DPX. Chris, what's going on, man? How is the weekend treating you?
This is Chris, Kilo Fox 5, Delta Pop X, right? So far, the weekend has treated me well. Over the past week, I guess last Thursday, after 21 months, the amp for my Lab 599 came in. That's DIY 500, so I can use that with a grand total of up to 60 watts of below torch power. And I got that working and went out to McKinney Falls State Park today to test it out. Got 25 contacts there, and yeah, it's worked pretty well. So that's pretty much the news I got for this weekend. KF5DPX, back to net.
Well, very cool, man. It sounds like that took a while, right? Because I remember I heard you talking about that amp a while back. Was that the one that you were talking about? Back to you.
Yeah, that's the one. When I ordered it, I knew there was going to be, it was an 18-month wait list that they were getting through. But, yeah, finally got it, and I'm pretty happy with it.
Very cool, man. I have a question. Now, it seems like you're using that for portable operation. Is that a big box, or is that like a tiny little thing since it's for portable? I haven't seen one of those. Back to you.
It's fairly small. It's compact. It's basically the same form factor of the Lab 599 radio, and the U.S. distributor ships a little 3D printed bracket with it, so you can kind of attach the radio and the amp together. So it's nice and compact. The amp and the radio itself. The amp of the radio itself is smaller in volume than my Yaesu 857, so it's fairly compact even with the amp.
Oh, very cool. I like that bracket thing that you mentioned there, because that sounds like it'll be really nice to have it all in one little pack as you go out for portable operation. Is that Yaesu 857? Is that the one that has all bands, all HF and 2 meters and 70 centimeters? Back to you.
Yeah, that's my first HF rig. I got it 10 plus years ago, but it's been out since I guess the late 90s. It is 2 meter, 7 centimeter, and does 6 through 160 on HF. So it's a great radio. I mean, it doesn't have the modern software defined radio features and whatnot, but it was always built to be kind of a mobile HF rig, and that's kind of what I've done Parks on the Air stuff with in the past, but pretty happy with this newer rig, and now that I can do 60 watts, up to 60 watts with it, I'll probably be leaving the Yaesu at home.
Well, very cool, man. Yeah, makes total sense, especially if you're going to be doing portable operation. But yeah, that A57, I think I always talk about it. I know they're discontinued, but it would be really nice to have one of those in your vehicle with the ATAS antenna, so that way you have all of the bands without having to worry about, carrying around a bunch of antennas or antenna tuner as well. So it's a shame that they discontinued that radio, but hopefully they'll come up with something similar with the same size. I know the 991 does the same thing, but it's a huge radio to put in your car. But well, very cool, man. Glad to hear that came in and you got to test it, and that you got a bunch of contacts with that. That's really neat. Very cool, man. Do you have anything else for the net before we move on?
No, I don't think so. Other than next get together that I can get to, whether it's the club meeting or whatnot, I will definitely be bringing it to show off, so for other people to check out. So yeah, that's it for me. Kilo Fox 5 Delta Papa X-ray, back to net.
Yeah, man, that'll be awesome if you bring that to see it. I would love to see that set up, especially with the bracket that you mentioned. That sounds really cool. Well, very cool, Chris. Thanks again for checking into tonight's net. It's always a pleasure talking to you. Hope you have an awesome week. And hopefully we'll get to talk before next Sunday. And yeah, the club meeting is coming up next month. Do you have anything else before we move on, my friend?
Nope, that's it. Good to speak with you, and thanks for running the net, and have a great evening and a great week. KF5DPX, back to net.
All right, man. You have an awesome week. We'll talk soon. All right. Well, you are listening to the Weekend Wind Down Net, hosted by Ernesto, KI5PZN.
And Mireya's here, KI5XYX. The Weekend Wind Down Net is here Sundays at 7:30 on the University Link and the OKL Amateur Radio Club repeater system.
All right, and we were talking to Chris, KF5DPX. We have a little more time. It's 8:30. We can take a couple of more check-ins. If you would like to check into this awesome net, please call Net Control with your name and call sign.
This is David, November 5, Yankee Alpha, November.
All right. We got David and 5YAN. David, what's going on, my friend? How is the weekend treating you?
Thanks, Ernesto. I've just been real busy contacting academic advisors and stuff. It's looking more and more like I will be spending the next fall semester in Cedar Rapids, Iowa for a co-op internship. So just trying to plan that, how does it affect scholarship? How does it affect enrollment at UT and all that good stuff? It does mean I will have to step down as VP of the UT club, so that will be interesting. My 2-year reign will come to a close. Other than that, I've just been working on homework. Break. Nothing too exciting there. Ham radio-wise, I recently discovered an old Amazon gift card, so I purchased a 12 amp hour Bio-NO lithium iron phosphate battery, and it recently arrived, so I'm looking forward to building a Go box that I can put my FT891 or VHF UHF rig into and operate portable. One quick question for anyone listening to the net, is the 2 amp charger supposed to get uncomfortably warm? I tried charging the battery, and I don't have a thermometer, but it got well over, I'd say, 120 degrees Fahrenheit. It was very, very warm to the touch. November 5, Yankee Alpha, November.
Anybody have an answer for David? Please call in with your name and call sign.
K5JM comment.
Go ahead, Sam.
Hey Ernesto, hey David. Yeah, congrats on the Bioenno battery there. I have the 30 amp hour version of that battery, and it's a 4 amp charger, and it charges like 14.6 volts at like 4, maybe even 6 amps. So that's like the high charge, and then it goes into like a trickle charge. But yeah, I think that mine's like a bigger brick, and it gets pretty toasty as well when it's in the high state, the high amp charge. And I think that's just a function of it wants a lot of juice quickly, and I guess it's it's what came with the battery from Bioenno. So I was surprised at how warm it kind of got as well, and so I kind of make sure that I do it in a safe spot. I don't leave it unattended and try to keep an eye on it. So that's been my experience so far. But I've had that for a couple of years, and I haven't had any problems. So hope that's helpful.
Well, thank you, Sam. Right now I've been charging it in a 50 cal ammo can. So I appreciate the advice. Glad I don't have to make an RMA or return it. Thank you. Thanks again. Back to net.
Well, thank you, Sam, for that comment. And David, sounds like you got a 4-month grill for batteries. So I guess while you are charging the batteries, you can make some carnitas or something like that on that batteries. It's gonna get that hot. Do you have any other projects going on, man? And I know you always have a bunch of stuff on your table. Back to you.
Not too much in terms of homebrew electronics right now. My circuit theory class, we're going over filter design, so I whipped out my old, back in 2019, I designed a low noise amplifier for a friend who was into plane spotting, and I pulled out my design for a band stop filter for the FM broadcast band, and I sort of went through and figured out, now that I have a somewhat working knowledge of filter design, how it all works. That was very interesting. For anyone curious, this is the third order Chebyshev filter for band stop. So yeah, very interesting course, and it's keeping me very busy. But I will be at Belton with the UT Amateur Radio Club to try and find some good deals on some electronics parts. With that, back to you, Ernesto. November 5, Yankee Alpha November.
Well, very cool, David. Yeah, looking forward to seeing you at Belton. Everybody's looking forward to Belton for sure. Question on the Iowa deal. When is that happening? When are you leaving Austin? Back to you.
Okay, yeah. So it's not confirmed yet. I don't know. They haven't given me an offer, but I've gone through 2 stages of interviews, and I guess no one is probably listening to this net that works there, but the company is called Skyworks Technologies. They do RF chip design for cell phones and various applications, and I would basically be working on testing chips, making sure they work and are performing to the required specifications, which I find interesting. So I'd be working starting this summer, and then I'd get shipped off through the fall semester. Since it takes a while to train people, and they don't really want to pay to train me, and then I only work for a month, right? So they want a little more time, it seems, and I hope it really works out. I aced the interview. It was originally I was really scared. Break. Yeah, the repeater was getting angry. Originally, I was very scared because the list of interview topics was extensive, so I made a very dense sort of RF engineering review, since I actually have not taken any radio frequency engineering classes down here at UT. And when I actually got into the interview, it was relatively straightforward, and I had a question, or an answer for every question, and I believe I got all of them correct. So, based on the language they used, I'm pretty sure it'll be happening. And if it doesn't, it's probably because the cost to move out to Cedar Rapids, Iowa was just too much. Especially if I wanted to come back to UT for the spring, I'd have to be on 2 leases at the same time. And, well, especially with Austin prices, that gets real expensive. Back to you.
Well, David, that sounds like a very exciting experience coming your way. and we definitely hate to see you go, but we knew that the day will come because, you know, you're doing your thing here at UT, and that's just part of life. We all, you know, go through all those things, but I'm sure it's going to work out fine, man, and you will have fun and learn a lot from that job. You're a very smart person, so I'm sure they already, you know, by doing a long interview, they figured that one out, that they're talking to a smart person, so I'm sure things are going to go well. And like I said, it'll be, you know, kind of suck to see you go, but we knew that the day will come. And more than anything, I guess if you don't have a node ready to rock and roll, that should be on your list of projects to get started, because we want to keep hearing from David from the, you know, from far away. Back to you.
Don't worry, Ernesto. I'll be back after the fall. You know, I need to graduate, anyways. But yes, building an all-star node is on my list of projects. I need to start on it because whenever I go back home, back to my parents' place, I can't run the UT net. And now that Matthew is KN4 LRA, the previous UT net controller, I don't think we'd have anyone to run the nets, and it's never good to have dead air for a weekly net, because people will forget you exist. And you know, I really enjoy the UT net, and I want to keep it going. Speaking of, I know you've been running this net for a long time, you and Mireya, of course, and I just wanted to say thank you. It's a really enjoyable net, and I like how everyone comes together on the weekends to, you know, just discuss what's been going on in their lives. November 5, Yankee Alpha November, back to you.
Well, thank you for the flowers, David. Yeah, I enjoy running the net, and that was the whole purpose, is to get people on the radio after the weekend is over and talk about stuff. So that is working out so far, man. And yeah, we'll see what happens with the UT net. I'm sure somebody else is going to step up and run the net as well. I'm sure, somebody's gonna take on that. But well, very cool, man. Glad to hear that things are going well. Sounds like you have a bunch of exciting things coming your way, which is awesome. And hopefully we'll get to see you soon. Do you have anything else for the net before we move on, my friend?
Not really, other than to say that if anyone is interested in fox hunting, I'll be putting out the UT Fox, if everything goes to plan, that is. The UT Fox will get deployed next weekend. It was going to be this weekend, but all my batteries had corroded and were dead, so I ran out of 9 volts, and so the Fox didn't get put out. But yeah, so it will be near the UT Austin campus. I think I'm going to put it a little bit away from campus this time, so it's close but not too far, so people can still find it without using a car, but it will also make it easier for people who aren't on campus to find parking, because I know parking on the UT campus can be expensive and difficult to find. With all that out of the way, I should probably get back to homework, so it's been nice chatting with everyone, and I'll get back to listening to the net. November 5, Yankee Alpha November, back to net control.
Very cool, David. Don't get more details about it, because then we'll know where to look for. You know how that goes. You know that Rusty is like a hound. He'll find it in no time. Well, very cool, David. I hope you have an awesome week. Thank you for checking into tonight's net. It's always a pleasure talking to you. We'll be chatting throughout the week for sure. And let's see, it's 8:44, not 6. I'm looking at and I'm tired, so I'm gonna wrap this up. Alright, well, let's see. Before I do that, let me read you the list of the local nets so that you can see Radioactive throughout the week. That's the list that Mireya does right. On Monday, we have 4 nets, and they all start at 8 p.m. We start with the Oak Hill Amateur Radio Club 6-meter Monday, and that's on the 50.125 megahertz frequency. And then the Williamson County Amateur Radio Club Newham net on the 146.640 megahertz repeater. And also the weekly YL net on the Oak Hill repeater system. And
KZ5KFR.
KZ, but what's your call sign again? I'm sorry, I didn't catch it. Let's continue here. And then, okay, on Mondays, the last one is the Texas A&M University Amateur Radio Club Information and Training Net. That's on the University Link repeater system at 8 p.m. On Tuesday, the Oak Hill Southside Simplex hosted by Ray. K5BZI. That's on the 146.555 megahertz at 8 p.m. On Tuesday, this one's at 6 p.m., the Absolute Tech Net, and that's on the Oak Hill repeater system, again at 6 p.m. On Wednesdays, the UT Amateur Radio Club Wednesday Net on the University Link repeater system and the N50AK repeater system, and that one starts at 8 p.m. on Wednesdays. On Thursdays, we have two nets. We have the Oak Hill CW net, hosted by Pat, W5WTH, and that's on the 3.532 megahertz frequency at 7:30 p.m. You don't have to be a good CW operator to join in. You can use a computer or an app to decode and send. Everybody's welcome to participate. At 8 p.m., the Oak Hill Thursday night net, hosted by a different operator every week. That's on the N50AK repeater system and the University Link repeater system, and that's at 8 p.m. every Thursday. On the last Friday of the month, the Traveling Taco Net, hosted by yours truly, KI5PZN, and the next one is coming up this next weekend, this next Friday, and we're going to go to Randy's house, KC3NAG, and the way this net works is you send me an email, invite me over to your shack, and I'll show up with tacos, and we talk about tacos, radios, antennas, and we get to chat with the guys on the air. So send me an email if you would like to participate, and my email is Kilo India 5 Papa Zulu November @gmail.com. On Saturday, we have three nets. We have the K5LBJ News and Information Net on the N50AK repeater system and the University Link repeater system, and that starts around 10 a.m. And at 7 p.m. on Saturday, the Austin Amateur Radio Club Elmer's Net, hosted by Jeff, N5MNW, and that's on the 146.940 megahertz repeater at 7 p.m. 9 p.m. on Saturday, the 220 megahertz guys original preservation net, hosted by Steve, KV9DSQ, and that's on Echolink by connecting to WM9W-R. That's Whiskey Mike Niner Whiskey Romeo. Sunday is a busy day as well. We have four nets, and we get started with the Austin Amateur Radio Club 10-meter weekly net. That's on the 28.410 megahertz at 3 p.m. At 7 p.m., the Travis County Aries Weekly Net, that's on the 147.360 megahertz repeater, again at 7 p.m. At 7:30, this one, the Weekend Wind Down Net, hosted by Ernesto, KI5PZN, and Mireya, KI5SYX, and that's every Sunday at 7:30 p.m. And coming up at 9 p.m., don't forget and go and check that out, it's the Austin Amateur Radio Club Swap Net, hosted by Jeff, N5MNW. That's on the 146.940 megahertz repeater. Again, it's coming up now at 9 p.m., so go and check it out. And don't forget to go to n50ak.org to check the calendar for the DMR machine. We have nets there almost every night. And also to check the calendar for all of these nets that I just mentioned to you guys. We have a busy ham community, so you all get on the radio every day, because every day there's something going on. Let's get a count on tonight's check-in, and we have 6 check-ins tonight, and I want to thank every one of you guys for checking in tonight. And that was Rusty, Sky, David, Ka, Chris, and David. Thank you guys. I really appreciate you guys checking in.
Thank you for joining us tonight on the Weekend Wind Down Net. We hope that even if your weekend was a bust, and definitely if it was a blast, that we all keep the momentum, focus on the positive, and here's to a great start to your week.
Mireya says that way nicer than I do. We'd like to thank Kyle, KFID, and the Oak Hill Amateur Radio Club for letting us use their repeater system. Please visit the University Link Repeater Systems website to learn more. That's KA5D.com. To learn more about the Oak Hill Amateur Radio Club, including how to become a member and how to join the Discord server, please visit m5oak.org. I'm Ernesto, KI5PZN.
And this is Mireya, KI5SYX. And from our QTH in East Austin, 73. And thanks again for participating and listening tonight. This system is now returned to regular amateur use.
You should have heard me there just laugh.
It's not the wind down net without the sound effects. WZ5 VBS.
I hope that old phone doesn't die on me, because I'll be trying to do it myself, and that would not be pretty.
I can do sound effects. I charge by the second.
You can hit the note, that's the important part. I can't even if I try.
Yeah, it's all that Bee Gees. I go to the bar and do Bee Gees karaoke. That's why I can hit those notes.
Yeah. Choir boy.
Later, man.
Alright, dude. It's KI5PZN. I'm on a QSY to 146.940 for the SwapNet.
AI5JT.